Alright then, guys, welcome to the podcast, and guess who's made his comeback, his return? I sacked him, but now he's back. He's
I've
back.
escaped from James, he's done you. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, Aaron's back. Good to have the geezer back. So, yeah, have you got any classic YouTube news then?
Not at the moment, no, I don't actually.
That's actually a first, man. But I have got some news for once. So, Callum's Corner's latest stuff. What do you think? The
Stephen Tries beef.
Yeah. Man said I look like Bristol Fritzo. You've got ginger hair.
I don't know what to make of it, because from the Stephen Tries point of view, it's just a laugh. But from the Callum's Corner point of view, it's like an actual beef that's going on between them.
Yeah, like Stephen Tries is sort of just brushing it off, and he's like, yeah, you know, it's just a bit of witty banter, a bit of harsh banter. Who really cares? But Callum's like, Max looks like the living embodiment of a bear. Stephen Tries looks and smells more like a what's it? And I'm thinking, how does Callum know what Stephen Tries smells like? Nah. But I don't know. To be honest, you can tell Stephen's just joking around. I mean, the stuff him and Max were wearing in the diss track, it is just a massive edgy joke, obviously. But still, I'm backing up the big man Callum's Corner because his reaction was just so funny.
The amount of little clips in that video that you could that people that are going to make YTPs of him are going to use just from that video. It's just amazing.
The thing is, with the YTPs, I don't think Callum realises though that it's all just his fans. It's not really people who dislike him. It's just all his fans messing around. As much as I think the Eddie stuff is a bit too far, it is all just a massive mess around at the end of the day. But
I mean, at the end of the day, YTPs, they're just meant to, they're meant to make the person they're on feel annoyed, but also, a bit happy, a bit funny.
Yeah, obviously, man. So you haven't got any news at all?
No, I haven't. I've been very unprepared, but nothing really sparked my interest to talk about, really.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, there's one thing I wanted to bring up, one last thing. Good old Boogie. He's made a travel bloody channel. What's all that shit about?
I'm not going to lie, I haven't been keeping up with Boogie. I've heard about this, but I don't know. I don't even know why.
Well,
for a man who claims he's got no money, let's go travelling the world sort of thing, that's what he's on about.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I don't mind him branching out. I think it's brilliant that he's branching out and making new stuff. When he first said about, I'm going to look up what the video was called again, because I watched it the other day. That's, the other week, sorry. Yeah, there's one saying, too big, too fat and out of shape. What? What the bloody hell? Too big, too fat, out of shape for ring fit adventures. So I had to turn the podcast audio down then. Did you say anything, or?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay, I just had to turn it down because the Boogie video. Should I start over with a new channel? That's what it was called. I'm just going to turn down the audio and check. Yep, 3,000 dislikes and 8,000 likes. So, yeah, pretty weird, to be honest. As I say, I'm glad that he's branching out, but I thought he was going to do a podcast channel, maybe upload some more gameplays instead of just gaming on Twitch. And just that sort of stuff really I thought he was going to do. Or maybe a whole channel dedicated to Francis, or a podcast channel, or more of a skit channel. Just stuff like that. But no, it's just him travelling around the world. And the funny thing is, he even mentions that his travelling videos are his most unpopular videos.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why he'd make a whole channel around that.
I was thinking though, I'm not having a go at your point or anything, but the main thing that YouTubers do when they set up a new channel is a podcast channel. But if Boogie did one, it's just everything he said on Twitch is going to be put on there pretty much, because he just spews that much stuff out on Twitch.
That's actually a really good point. But I was sort of thinking, I don't know, he could get some smaller YouTuber guests on there and they can just talk about gaming. Because usually Boogie acts like this on his own. Maybe if he was around like two other people who have the same interests as him, like gaming, or talking about how fucked up some companies are, or I don't know, just anything, or the new consoles.
I know he's got, is it Fat Kid behind the camera and MC Juggernuggets, they're his mates.
Yeah, Juggernuggets, They could do podcasts with him.
They sort of are on the sort of same wavelength, so he could do stuff with them, but they all only come together when they all need money, so...
Yeah.
And I don't think his podcast would even be half as successful as, like, say, for example, the H3 podcast.
Yeah, or JRE.
Oh, yeah, nothing to get close to that, I don't think.
To be fair, the reason why certain podcasts can become successful is because of the guests they have on. H3's had like Post Malone and iDubbbz and all these different people on. Who can Boogie get on? Who really wants to do business with him after the way he's acted? I mean, you would, Aaron. You'd do business with him any day of the week. You'd sit there for 5 hours and talk to him about, I don't know, fat shaming or something. But... And he'd have to pay you like £1 million, but you know.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what the fuck? I'm on Boogie's channel and it says world's largest man. Boogie's standing next to this fat blob. What? Oh no! Hold on! Look at this.
Is him trying to say that he's not as fat as people?
Basically, yeah, he is. No, look at this, Aaron. Look at this. Quick. This is just look. I mean, this is ridiculous. What's he doing? What the fuck is that thing? With all due respect to that person, like, he needs to lose.
Like I'm not trying to be offensive, but he does look like a statue.
Yeah, to be honest, that geezer who Boogie's standing next to needs to lose some bloody weight. With all due, I'm sure that geezer is a really, really nice person. But, well, I don't know, because I haven't clicked on the video, but Boogie really shouldn't be saying I'm standing next to the world's largest man. Probably just for clickbait. You know. But, yeah, no fat shaming or anything, but I was just surprised. Why has he done this for? What's the point? What's the point of filming the fattest person in the world on your bloody travelling? I bet he had to pay that person thousands upon thousands of pounds just to be on camera.
Yeah,
honestly,
probably.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's the end of the news then for today. First topic then, the music industry. So we're just going to go into what we think of it, what we think of bands, the politics behind music, and our general thoughts on music. So, personally, I think music's an amazing thing. There's a lot of shit songs, but it's really good for people mentally. It's changed a lot of lives. And at one point, you know, music on the radio was all people had. There wasn't any of this TV or any of that nonsense. All they had was the radio to listen to every single day for entertainment. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on music?
Well, as a whole, you can't really say it's bad as a whole because everyone likes music, really, don't they?
Yeah.
In some way. But, yeah, I think recently, like, I don't want to put, like, a sort of time period on it, but I'm guessing since about 2000, all music just seems to be like... It's like what Noel Gallagher said. I know I said this to you the other day, but Noel Gallagher said ages ago, for the first time in sort of history, all the charts are dominated by extremely like high production labels. They're all the same labels, all the same artists, pretty much.
Yeah. And
there's very little chance for someone to get in there who is completely different. And if they're completely different, they'll just change to like the current formula. Or
they'll probably just get told to fuck off, like.
Yeah. Well, no one will buy their music and then they'll go.
Yeah. It's quite a sad reality. I feel like this generation, our generation, likes different music. They like all this computerised nonsense and all this, you know, edited voices and all this rubbish and BG Media and bloody Stormzy and all that crap, you know.
Yeah.
There are some... I was going to say, there are some people who obviously like the classic music. I mean, the best music probably in this day and age is all of the Callum's Corner diss tracks. Those are beyond anything that has been on the charts. That's probably the best music, apart from Eminem, the best music of the last 2 decades.
I was going to say, because you said, I think one of the last podcasts I was on, that your favourite well, mine and your favourite decade of music was the 90s, wasn't it? Or early,
it was a really close one because 90s had Oasis and I just think they were amazing. The 80s had other good stuff, you know. I don't know, it's a close one. It is a really close one. I'll probably just go for the 90s, I guess. I might have said the 80s, I can't remember. Oh, but 80s had all the Queen. I know Queen was like 70s and 80s, but... Oh, but you got the Beatles in the 60s. It's just, you know... What are you going to choose? It's just all amazing. But one thing that we can all guarantee is that the music from 2000 onwards, apart from Eminem, was just... Some of it's okay, but some of it's just absolute shit. I mean, I have no idea how Ed Sheeran... When George Michael died, right... Everyone was thinking, alright, the number one next year will be George Michael, Last Christmas, because he passed away the Christmas before. You know, it's got quite a lot of meaning that he's number one, and it'll, you know, you wouldn't be surprised if he was number one. Guess what? So George Michael was number 3, Ed Sheeran's Perfect featuring Beyonce was number 2, and Ed Sheeran's original Perfect was number 1. What the fuck? Why people... First off, why are 2 songs... One, a slightly shitter version, because I don't know why Beyonce needed to be in it, but why are 2 songs dominating the bloody... why they're dominating the first and second place? It makes no sense. So you imagine, you've got Wonderwall at number 1, and then you've got Wonderwall featuring Michael Jackson and Elvis screaming. It just doesn't make any sense. It's stupidness.
Well, Michael Jackson was in the room when they recorded it, but he's exactly the same.
Yeah. Damon Albarn was there, going, oh, no, Blur deserved to win the Battle of the Bands. So, who do you actually think won the Battle of the Bands? Because obviously Gorillaz is amazing, Blur's absolute shit, and Oasis is amazing.
Right, personally, I prefer Oasis.
Yeah.
But, overall... I don't know, because Oasis went on a little break, didn't they? Was it 1997?
Well, basically, with Oasis, they had 3 solid years. Technically, 4. 94, 95, 96, 97. Just blasting out absolute bangers. And then they did fuck all, and then they bought some... They did perform live loads and loads, obviously. But then in 2002, they bought out a few songs. And then in 2006, I think they did a couple. And then they broke up in 2009, so...
Yeah, I don't want to turn this into, like, Oasis talk, but, it is weird, because when you look at, say, for example, Noel Gallagher, like, compare, definitely maybe, to Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. The style of music, like, it's all techno and all that now, isn't it? In High Flying Birds, whereas in Oasis, it was literally just guitars, drums and bass.
Yeah, but I remember Noel Gallagher said, like, he's got a load of songs at home that he's wrote that are a lot similar to Oasis, but the producers and the companies, they just want all this techno nonsense. So he just writes songs that will probably appeal to younger people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absolutely sad and pathetic, really, that, you know... I don't know why Noel Gallagher just doesn't say, no, fuck you, I'm doing what I want to do. I mean, hasn't he got like 60 million in the bank or something ridiculous?
Well, I know he said in the 90s he had 90 million in the bank.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, it just shows how successful they were. Now, Damon Albarn, right, just this last point about the Gorillaz. Thing is, not Gorillaz, sorry, song 2. You've got a song where they're going, ooh. Then you've got a song where they're going on about holidays. Then you've got another song where they're going on about bloody nonsense.
There's one goes the girls and boys one.
Yeah, stupid, absolute stupidity. You can't say they beat Oasis. You just cannot. Okay, you can make some... Gorillaz are one of my favourite bands. You can make some arguments for the Gorillaz because Clint Eastwood and Feel Good were pretty big. And then they came back with... Plastic Beach, which was like a massive album because you had Melancholy Hill, Rhinestone Eyes and bloody Stylo on that album, and they were just some class bangers. Personally, I like Oasis better, but you can make good arguments if you want to put the Gorillaz in the mix. You know, you could say they did better than Oasis because Gorillaz have been so consistent and they're so ahead of their time. Because I saw that Feel Good came out in 2016 on YouTube and I thought, hold on, did this song come out this year? Then I looked, it came out in 2005, what? I was thinking, man, that's mad. The song's so good and it sounds so amazing. And for him to change himself so much, for Damon Albarn to change himself from shitty 90s band to like animated band craziness is like, not many people can make that image change and then make it work pretty well, you know. So, personally, I like Oasis better than Gorillaz. Gorillaz are really close, but if we're just talking about Blur and Oasis stashed them in the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, when it comes to like these, I know you can sort of get it now, like all these different, it's mainly like K-pop, isn't it, where like all these different fans hate each other. All it is just making more sales for their record companies at the end of the day. Because half the time, the same record company owns both bands.
I mean, I did hear K-pop once and I just thought it was the biggest low. It's just not my music, I'm sorry.
I know, I don't understand why. There's people, or I don't want to dox anyone, but there's people that I go to university with who like just listen to it and they put it up on like social media all the time and like, this is just horrible.
I mean, in my opinion, I haven't got that attitude of, if I don't like it, no one can like it, but K-pop is just absolute dog shit to me. I just cannot. It's just, I don't know how this is popular. I don't know. I don't understand the appeal. I'm sorry. I'm sure the people are talented and whatever, but I'm just not bothered. I'm so sorry. It's just not my gig. You know, one thing that's really holding young musicians back, I feel like a lot of people are really reliant. I know this is just a random spur, but I feel like a lot of people are reliant on just copying other songs. Like, small bands, they just do tributes, you know, take that tribute, an Oasis tribute, whatever. And I just think to myself, why don't you just make your own shit and just perform gigs? At the end of the day, someone might film that and put it on social media and they'll think, man, this is a class tune. Instead of bloody ripping off everyone else's stuff and getting paid to rip off everyone else's stuff. I don't mind if they're singing a few songs, like Oasis did a few Beatles songs in live performances and they did a few, you know, they did My Generation by The Who and all that stuff. But, you know, I don't see the point of, like, you get paid to do a whole tribute of just singing another band's songs, not singing multiple band songs, just ripping off a whole band, and it just seems stupid. They probably made £100 to sing a bunch of songs that have already been made.
I've seen this thing, I don't know if you've heard of it, but you know that band, I don't know what they're called, but basically they dress up exactly like the Beatles. And they've been doing it for 20 years, and they just go around singing Beatles songs. They do like live performances to like not stadiums, like crowds and all that. And they're just dressed up like, and they don't do anything. They just sing Beatles songs. I'm like, you're talented. You're playing a guitar pretty well. You've got people, you know, on the bass and drums. Why don't you just go and do your own music? I know it won't sell as much, but isn't it better to just do something original rather than just copying someone?
You've got more chance of leaving a legacy behind and being remembered if you do something original. But if you just, you know, sucking other people's stuff and smearing it all over the place, then, you know, you're probably not going to be remembered that well. They'll just think, oh, they sang their songs pretty well, but it's nothing really innovative.
Yeah.
What do you think about, like, because this happened, you hear about bands breaking up a lot more back in the day when there wasn't as much money in it. Like, a lot of bands, you know, like Spandau Ballet, they were like, oh, we just, you know, we're doing this for the fun, we don't care about money. But then the bloke who wrote the songs, he was like, oh, no, fuck you guys, I'm taking all the royalties. Then they went to court and they were like, oh, yeah, Tony Hadley, you and your two mates have lost, but the songwriter and his brother, they've got all the money now. So Tony Hadley and the two other geezers were performing for ages, and they basically made fuck all, and he was just like, lads, I give up. And then Tony Hadley just went home and that was the end of the band. Adam and the Ants fell out over money. But there's other situations like with the Beatles where as soon as they stopped performing live because they just got fed up, John Lennon was just like, oh, I'm fed up now, what is the point? And then they just all went their separate ways. Or there's some people who go solo and then they end up doing shit. Or good.
Yeah.
Depending on what happens.
I think a lot of it today is more because there's more pressure, isn't there? Because back in the day, like with the Beatles, it was just like newspapers that were really talking about it and like magazines and fans. Whereas now you have to sort of do your own publicity if you're on social media if you're like a musician. So you have to be on like Instagram and whatever, like posting stuff. And if you break up, you're more connected to your fans, I think.
Yeah.
And also as well, I think it just comes down to money as well. Because people are like, well, I'm not going to make it if I go solo, so I better stay with this band for a while. Even if they don't like it, they're just like, well, I've got to make enough money, haven't I?
What annoys me with some of these bands, though, right? Bands like One Direction and Little Mix, all they did was go on a talent show. Simon Cowell bloody said, "You are marvellous," and then bloody, you know, they just became famous. But what's annoying is that I don't think that, you know, what gets on my nerves is that they're not even proper bands. Like, it's just 5 singers. There isn't really. It's, you know, if they've got decent voices, that's good. But there isn't a bass player, a drummer, you know, pianist. Someone,
a triangle player.
Yeah, someone playing the little triangle, you know, and obviously there isn't someone playing the saxophone or the trumpet, you know, or the violin. There's none of this stuff. It's just 5 singers going ba 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 ba, and it's just a bunch of musicians spamming electronic nonsense.
Yeah, I think the thing as well is, I don't know, mate, it's like a ramble or anything, but a lot of music now, you just, like musicians walk into a studio, they've got the lyrics, and someone's given them lyrics, someone's made a backing beat for them. They go in, pop out a tune in 15 minutes, then they're out. Whereas, I mean, it's still with like some music today, like a lot of artists, if it's in like the alternative genre or something, or indie or whatever, you have to sit down, write out all the musical notes and all that, come up with chords, then come up with lyrics, then make sure it all fits together. Do that all on your own, rather than having like 100 songwriters for you. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, a lot of bands now, all they are is just a front for a music company.
Definitely.
Because all it is, it could be literally anyone walking in to get these lyrics. It could be like I don't know, like a band of like 3 women walking in, a band of 1 guy, like 2, you know, it could be anyone, just going, oh yeah, that's alright, I'll sing that.
Mm-hmm.
So the weirdest thing with DJ Khaled, or Khaled, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I saw ages ago, do you know how he comes up with his songs?
How?
Basically what happens is, he has his own business, people make songs, like they make the backing beat for him, and they write the lyrics. They bring it to DJ Khaled. He goes, yeah, that sounds alright. And then he puts that song out in his name.
Yeah, because at the start of some of these songs, like, you know that Rihanna song where she goes, you want to see me naked, naked? And
no, I don't know that is.
You haven't heard that song? What? No, Wild Thoughts, that's what it's called. Wild Thoughts.
I haven't heard that.
Sorry. But, and what else? You know, Justin Bieber when he's going, I'm the one, yeah. That song as well. DJ Khaled says his name at the start of those songs, so he just owns the whole gig then. The only reason I've heard these songs is because they played a shit ton on the radio, and whenever I'm lifting at the gym, that shit is just getting spammed. I'm not a closet Justin Bieber and Rihanna fan, for all of you, you know, to know. I don't like that music. I think it's awful, but because it's been played so many times, that's why I can remember it.
I think the thing as well is, a lot of that kind of pop music, is that just, it hasn't got anything to it, and it's that, like, PG, it's played everywhere, so you can't escape from it.
Yeah, I mean, there is some exertives in there, obviously, but they're bleeped out, so, or they like have a lyric to replace it, so it appeals to, so kids can listen to it.
Yeah. And then they do censor, like, I don't understand why, but they censor, like, some rap songs. So, like, some songs by, like, 50 Cent and, like, Eminem, they censor, so half of the songs bleeped out, just so they can play it to kids. But, like, what's the point?
They should just play it on late night radio, shouldn't they?
Yeah, and I don't get that, because I remember on iTunes back in the day, this is just a really random thing, but you have to be really careful to buy the explicit version of an album. Because if you bought the normal version, it would just, there'd be no lyrics, because you'd just be all, like, bleeped out.
Annoying, innit?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they bleep out stuff like knife. Like, I understand stabbing's not good, but knife and gun, if you bleep it out, if anything, that brings more attention to it, because kids might look up, oh, what is that word that he just said? Knife and gun. I know you'd have to be a bit, you know, crazy in the head to get influenced by that being bleeped out, but still, you're bringing more attention to the word if it's bleeped out.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. So, I've got another question for you. Who do you think is more talented, right? The writer or the singer? Now, in my opinion, it depends on those different things, but I'll say that after you say what you think.
I was going to say it depends what context you're talking in.
Right.
If it's sitting down trying to come up with a song, the writer. But if it's getting on stage, performing it in front of everyone over and over and over again for years, I guess it's a singer.
Because they do have to learn it, because the writer in their head, they're like, I know what... Like, to be honest, I've wrote a few songs, man, and the way they sound in my head, they're actually not too bad, you know. You just come up with... You think of a time in your life, how you felt, if it's happy, sad, or angry, or whatever, or great, or whatever, and then you just try and rhyme a few words, and you just make it into a song. You just... verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, the end. That's a really simple way of doing it. But, like, I feel like, you know, Noel Gallagher, right? Don't mean to go on about Oasis again, but he was on the stage grafting his arse off, and he was writing, you know, and he could sing and play the guitar as well. It wasn't like he just sat there writing up a song. And to be honest, Liam Gallagher's voice is nothing special. It was, compared to the best voices ever, it was okay from 94 to 2000. I did like the groggy, grungy Wembley 2000. It was kind of cool, but his voice was going then. And then in like 2002, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and onwards, it was just shit. I know they broke up in 2009, but they still performed live afterwards, and his voice was just terrible. Noel's voice is still semi-decent.
Yeah.
But if you look at other people, like remember in Rocket Man, I know that's based on real life, so we can use this. Elton John's, well, debatable. It's based on real life from Elton John's view, but you know, we'll not go into that one. It's only a few little things like how his dad treated him. His dad actually treated him okay, apparently, according to some sources. But Elton, he wanted it his way, so you know. But that's just to a few sources. But anyway. Thing is, with his songwriter, all his songwriter did was stand in the audience, according to that film, and Elton was busting his arse, and he had a great voice. Spandau Ballet, Tony Alley didn't write the song, but great voice, so it's sort of, I think they're both equally as talented. Beatles, I think all of them wrote songs, but obviously John Lennon, and bloody Paul McCartney sung the songs, didn't they? So, it can all be evened out, really. You get me?
Yeah. I was thinking as well, with, well, it's sort of weird to say, but I guess like a singer, I don't know, I'm just going to ramble here, but pretty much what I was trying to say was, you can't really say one's better than the other, because without either of them, nothing's going to get done.
Exactly. Unless the singer's a great writer.
I know, but then it's just sort of rolling them into one person, then which, yeah, you just got to say that they're a good person.
Yeah. One final point I want to bring up though, right? Back in the day, you had people, Elvis, Engelbert, Johnny Ray, Michael Jackson, you know, Elton John, as I say, Tony Hadley with his voice. All these are, you know, David Bowie, Freddie Mercury, Prince, all these people with absolutely phenomenal voices. You know, because they had to work hard back then to make their voices good. Even Tom Jones, he had a great voice, you know. They had to work really, really hard. They didn't have any of this editing, but nowadays all the voices are just edited, so when they're singing live, it just sounds shit. Post Malone's awful live, and apparently he stinks. You know, he smells like vomit, apparently, according to some sources. He's a legend of a person, but I don't know. I know that's really weird to bring up, but...
I think we need to start a petition. We need to get James to smell Post Malone.
Oh dear.
Let's start a GoFundMe.
He smells like a what's it? Post Malone smells like a what's it? Yeah, that'd be absolutely... that's something that really needs to happen. But yeah, the point is, Post Malone apparently doesn't sound very good live. So, but I like a few of his songs, to be honest, compared to most artists. But yeah. But there's other people who aren't very good live. That's my final point, really. It needs to be music. not just computerised editing and editing their voice. It needs to go back to authenticity and being amazing again and more original.
Yeah, because there's like some bands that I like, and they sound.
Hold on, it just stopped. Oh,
on the CD than in like on a stage. They sound exactly the same.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the recording just stopped a second, but I think it picked up what you said. How they sound the same on the CD as they do on the stage.
Yeah.
Like the greatest band of all time that I've never heard of, the Finger Strokes.
The what?
The Finger Strokes. The Strokes, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest band ever.
I didn't say they were the greatest band ever. I said I just really like it.
You said you bring their CD to an island and listen to them forever, so fair enough. Fair enough. You'll have to be a true fan of the podcast to get that reference. Anyway,
I like some OG stuff.
Yeah.
OG game.
Anyway, on to the next thing. Alan Partridge review. Now, this show...
Smell my cheese.
Yeah. Smell my cheese. Now, this show has to be... Like, a lot of the great English comedies were sort of dead after Fools and Horses, really. I mean, you had... I know there was some good stuff in the 90s, but Blackadder and Mr. Bean and The Thin Blue Line and Fools and Horses, Open All Hours, Dad's Army, Last of the Summer Wine, One Foot in the Grave... as time goes by, Keeping Up Appearances, none of them were around in the 2000s. I know Alan Partridge was late 90s, then came back in 2002, but bloody hell, it had its own feel, you know, because, no offence to Steve Coogan, but in reality he's a bit of a a bit of a failed celebrity. But his character, Alan Partridge, is like a really, really over-exaggerated version of himself, like his show kept failing, and it was just hilarious. And he keeps trying to get these really, really low-time shit gigs, like when he slagged off the farmers on the radio, and then... I love how it builds up to a joke. This is a good example, right? So when he slags off the farmers on the radio, it builds up to something like more farmers call him up, then he meets up with this farmer and he takes the mick out of him and says, "Oh, you're shit." And then at the end of the episode, the farmers just chuck a cow onto him.
Oh, he's on a barge, isn't he? And they throw a cow on him.
Yeah. It's like, it's just the build up to it, man. It's amazing. And like in the Jed episode as well, it's like at the start, Jed is just a random fan, and he's like, "Oh, hello," and he says, "Oh, I love you, I do," and then he's like, "Oh, thank you," and then it built. Obviously, you have different people. You have those two Irish dudes who Ireland's trying to suck up to get more shows. And then it ends up Jed's just a mentalist, and he has a whole homage to Alan Partridge in one of his bedrooms. And he says, "You like David Copperfield too?" And he says, "Yeah, not as much as you though." And then he says, "Let's do an interview. You can be David Copperfield." And then he puts on a mask and says, "I'll be Alan Partridge." Ha-ha, ha-ha. And then he goes, and then And then he goes, "I can't breathe, Jed, I can't breathe." And then he says, like, "Fuck you, you spastic," then drives off. Not exactly those words, because that's very unpolitically correct of me. But, well, he does say something like that, but he's like, no chance, you spastic. Then he runs off for 20 years. It's so funny. But yeah, as I say, he's just like a really, really failed celebrity. A bad thing about the shows, I think some of the jokes go on too long, and some of them are just a bit like random and weird some of the time. I can't really pinpoint it, because like if you watch the show you'll get what I mean. I like how certain things come back and bite him in the ass, like the James Bond episode, which was just hilarious. And then Lynn's boyfriend, who was a former copper, he's like, "I hate how you fucking treat Lynn like shit and I'm going to knock you out." Too bad he didn't come back for the next episode. I haven't finished episode 5 and 6, but you can spoil them and talk about them.
I can't actually remember what happens, to be honest.
Isn't episode 6 like the one where he's like, "Tarblerone"?
I'm just doing off the top of my head. I can't remember. I've watched them all in the past, but yeah. I was going to say, the one thing I don't like about it is a lot of the jokes, I guess you can say because it was of the time period it was brought out, but they're just so predictable, some of them. So, like, when he gets a new contract at the BBC, and then the guy dies, so he doesn't get it. That was sort of predictable, but I guess you could say because it came out like around 2000 or that, or early 2000s. It's been done.
I think that one was
loads
97. I
times.
don't know if that was the first series too.
I can't remember. I think it might have. Yeah, it must have been the first series actually.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit weird as well how a lot of the characters in the second series are just forgotten.
Yeah, like the hotel people, and they're barely mentioned. Do you think that did they? Because the problem is, I look up stuff about Alan Partridge, and there's barely anything there. Like, I think, why does it only get 2 series? Like, it's sort of obvious because they probably couldn't think of anything else. But like,
well, I know he's had a few movies. He's got his own book. He's on a radio, like an actual radio thing as well.
Is it any good or a bag of shit?
And he has other TV shows. He had that one on BBC, like that fake. It was like the One Show, but it was a joke version of it, and he was on it.
I love that bit when he was singing "It Seems to Me." You know that one. It was a bit rubbish, but some of it made me laugh when he sung the "Candle in the Wind" bit, and it was just a picture of him shaking someone's hand. I don't know. And obviously, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff when he was talking to Lynn and the camera was still on him was kind of funny. Nothing compared to the original show, though.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Knowing Me, Knowing You? Wasn't that a real show in '94?
Oh, I'll watch one episode. It's really bizarre. Like, you need to, basically, the best way to watch it, if you haven't watched any Alan Partridge, is watch that first. Because if you watch anything after it, and then go and try and watch it, it feels really weird. It's too, like, precise. It feels like an actual show rather than, like, a laugh.
Is that the radio show when he's just talking to people?
No, that's the one where it's like a talk show, but it's it's hard to explain it. It's just like a talk show that he's on, and he tries to take it very serious. And from what I remember, there's not a lot of jokes. I didn't really watch that many episodes, but
so is that meant to be like his character failing?
I think so. I think it's meant to show him, like, declining, and then at the end, I think he loses his contract.
That's hilarious. Sounds a bit, I don't know. Might watch it eventually, even though it'll be weird. Have you got anything else you want to say about the show? Because obviously, you know, just thought we'd do a cheeky review. Not you can't really go into loads and loads of detail.
The one thing I'd probably say is this isn't really about Alan Partridge. It's mainly about a lot of actors as well, but pretty much the character has taken over Steve Coogan, isn't it? Because whenever you see Steve Coogan, you just think Alan Partridge now.
Well, he's shit in everything else, really. He's not really done anything else. And he's not really much of a good actor. He just plays Alan Partridge really well because it's essentially an over-exaggerated version of himself. It's like Ricky Gervais and The Rock. They just play themselves.
Yeah.
And it's a decent laugh, but they can't really get to high-level actor.
Yeah, I think... I don't know how to describe it. I guess the one I'm going to give it is it's got a lot of continuity. Like, it's been going since the 90s, and he's put up like actual books and all that about Alan Partridge, like, you know, like it was Alan Partridge writing in and all that. So, you know, he's kept up for ages. But I guess if it's what pays the bills, he's got to do it, really, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's like a millionaire, so. But thing is, right, with these actors though, like Ricky Gervais, The Rock. They are good, but it's like you couldn't have them in Taxi Driver or Apocalypse Now, or The Deer Hunter, or The Godfather.
It's like they're like a one-trick pony sort of thing.
Yeah, like you couldn't imagine The Rock playing like just a serious character who's got serious issues, who's compelling. You couldn't imagine Ricky Gervais playing a serious character, you know. It's just all silliness or just the same. Well, there are comedy actors like David Jason who can do different stuff, but, you know, most of, you know, with those specific guys, Dwayne and Ricky, they're just the same. One trick pony, as you say. But yeah, let's get into the Alan Partridge movie, Alpha Papa. Oh wait, no, the rating, what I'll give Alan Partridge, well, what will you give it? I would definitely give it a solid 4.5 out of 5. Very innovative, very cool. Really good laugh and really easy watch.
I'll probably give it the same. 4.5. Basically, the reason you said, and the only reason I wouldn't give it a 5 is probably just because it's not really pushing anything. It's not like groundbreaking, but it's still really good.
Yeah, it's nothing like... The only comedy I think I'd give like 5 is like bloody Fools and Horses. There aren't really... There's quite a few I'd give 4.5, which are great, but you know. But yeah, Alan Partridge is just one of the great comedies, as I say. What can I say? Anyway, on to the movie now. Yeah, decent, I guess. So basically, what Alan Partridge the film is about, it just starts off with Alan Partridge driving to work. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the cock piss partridge on his car, and the loon, and the crash bang wallop. What a video. Those are amazing things in the series. But yeah, enough about that shit. He's driving to work singing, Feel Me Baby, feel. And then, you know, miming that song. Gets to work, Michael's there. There's some dickheads on the radio we've never seen before. And, anyway, then he says, just sack Pat, to the radio producers. And Pat Farrell, the bloke from Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, I don't know what else he's been in. I really have no idea what. I'm going to look it up, let's see. I swear he's been in some other stuff. But yeah, it's either him getting the sack or Pat Farrell. And so basically, he says Pat Farrell's a massive elephant. And then... Wait, is that his real name? Oh, no, it's not. Oh, it's just some fat bloke on the internet. Oh. I looked up Pat Farrell. This is just becoming a shambles, I'm sorry. But yeah, Pat Farrell gets the sack and then it becomes a hostage situation. They have a party on the night. And Pat Farrell, you know, takes over the party and bloody points a shotgun at everyone. And yeah, Alan has to go in and rescue him by it for some reason. For some reason he gets looped into it and the police force him into it.
Oh yes, because he's the only one who's friendly with him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's like, if you send anyone else in, I'm gonna kill them, apart from Alan.
Oh yeah. So basically, Alan gets forced into it, which is annoying. But what I like is how his career, his career gets relighted, and he's like on BBC News, and he gets and his pants fall down out the window, and he's getting filmed. But yeah, I really laughed at the bit when he gets shot, and he's like, "Goal, goal, goal." And when he sings "Maybe I," the Willie Nelson song, it's just all absolute brilliance. All I can say. Well, not all brilliance. It's, to be fair, considering I knew nothing about Alan Partridge, because as I've said before, it's really hard to make a comedy movie because character tropes. It's better to make comedy series because character tropes can be established, like a way a certain character actually think, oh, that's how they act, that's them, that's funny. But in a film, it's a lot harder, but it still made me laugh. Alan's character was established quite quickly and quite easily, really. He's just a bit of a fucking dickhead. He treats Lynn like shit, and he just acts a bit random and funny, I guess. He's the good version of Edgy, I suppose, because his character is actually that fucking weird. It's not like an act. So, yeah, do you want to say the good stuff about the film, then I'll say something I think which is bad?
I don't really know what else to say about it being good. I've got one issue with it, but yeah.
What's your issue with it then?
I was going to say the pacing does feel a bit off at some points.
Yeah.
Because it moves like really, really fast. Like before you know it, you're already at the part where you see in the trailers, you know, where like the building's been taken over, and then when they're in the building, it just feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah.
And then it's when he falls out the toilet window with no trousers on and all that. And then it just feels like it keeps going on. And then when they get in the bus towards the end, that feels like it goes on for a bit. It seems like it could have just been like a 30-second joke, but they just keep, you know. And then towards the end, it just feels like they really speed it up, and then it goes.
Yeah. It just ends with Alan getting with that woman, and he just drives off. Michael dies, which was like gutting. I thought, what, this thing's 2 hours? Bloody hell, that was, bloody hell, no wonder they had all those stretched out scenes, but yeah, didn't really feel like 2 hours though, so I don't know if it was either an easy watch or they just kept pushing stuff into it. I can't believe Alan didn't get arrested for smashing that bloke with a bloody fire extinguisher. That was quite funny when he was like, "You said to me." But yeah, Michael died at the end because he was like, "Look over here, Pat," and then he jumped off the pier, and then it said, "Police went after him, couldn't find him, so Michael's dead."
Apparently, Michael hasn't died. I've just looked it up.
In the show?
No, in the movie, he just jumps off.
No, but at the end of it, it says, obviously in the comedy they're not going to show him dead, but at the end of it they said the police stopped the search after 45 minutes, so he died.
Oh.
If it says on the internet he's not dead, then he must not be dead, then he must have just ran off from the police, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, that was just a weird tangent.
Yeah. So yeah, the new characters, Pat was alright, that woman was alright, the radio, that bloke, the blokes in the radio show were alright. Yeah, there was some...
Yeah, sorry, I've just looked it up, yeah, he did die, yeah. Steve Coogan confirmed it.
What did Steve Coogan say?
He just said, in his book, Nomad, the Alan Partridge book,
yeah,
it said, it's basically how about he talks about Michael dying.
Well, I wonder why they made that decision for him to get killed off. Does it say?
I mean, it is a comedy, so they could just bring him out and say, "Oh yeah, I went out for a swim or something," and go, "Oh."
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny how it was just a weird distraction and he just jumped into the sea and died.
Yeah.
You know, and Michael was a bit stupid, so he'd do something that's stupid as a distraction, so... I don't know, it would be nice. I mean, they're not going to do another film, so it doesn't even matter if bloody Alan and Lynn got shot in the head by the police, does it? It doesn't really matter though, does it? Because it's just, are they even going to do it? I heard of talks of doing a second one, but what is the point? Like, this doesn't conclude anything, it's just a fun film with Alan Partridge. Just a decent comedy. Just a decent laugh, really. It didn't really conclude anything. So, I don't know.
It's like one really long episode.
Yeah. They might do, if they do a second one, I think it would just be absolute dog shit, to be honest. I don't really want them to. I think they should just leave it now. Because when Alan tried to make the comeback with that weird BBC One type show that you mentioned, and it was okay, but, you know, they just need to stop. Maybe one more film, but what would they even do it about? I don't know. I'll personally give the film... probably a decent 3.5.
Yeah, I was thinking 3.5 around there.
Yeah. A decent 3.5.
Not out of 10.
Oh yeah, you're not out of 10. Decent 3.5 stars out of 5, yeah. So, yep, that wraps this podcast up nicely. Good to have Aaron back again for this one. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say before you go on a 20-year hiatus again, or?
No, I can't think of anything.
Fair enough, bro, fair enough. But yeah, good to have Aaron back on for this one. That's the end, so thanks for watching.
Alright, thanks for watching.